Ukrainian drones attacked a strategic chemical plant in Stavropol, and in Volgograd, after an air raid alert and explosions, a fire broke out at the oil refinery. In the Donbas, Russian troops have been stopped. The breakthrough near Pokrovsk and Dobropilya has been halted. Historic talks between Trump and Putin took place in Alaska. 3 hours of talks, but zero agreements. Patriarch Kirill protected Putin with a secret prayer, and in the occupied Donbas, they sang the Kim Jong-un anthem. Hello, my name is Katerina Nesterenko. Right now, and most importantly, but first, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so we don't lose each other on YouTube. The good drones are back in action. The Novinomysyk Azot chemical plant near Stavropol got a nighttime surprise. On the night of August 16th, winged guests put on a real fireworks show over the plant. Local residents counted 9 or 10 explosions and noticed a fire in the area of the chemical plant. The mayor of the city itself, Mikhail Minenkov, claims that everything is under control and that supposedly
there is no significant damage to report. Well done, the air defense systems worked effectively. All the incoming drones were successfully shot down. They were brought down somewhere over the open fields, and the dry stubble is currently burning. Fortunately, the firefighters quickly put everything out. We're now moving on.
Well, of course, we totally believe that. Let me remind you that the chemical plant is actively working for the defense industry. It is one of the largest producers of nitrogen fertilizers and ammonia in Russia. These substances are used to produce explosives, including for artillery shells, and this is already the 3rd drone attack on this very plant this summer. I wonder how many more such visits this chemical plant Azot can withstand. And in Volgograd, everything is covered in black smoke after the air raid alert and a series of explosions at the oil refinery, when suddenly a scheduled discharge of petroleum products began. Yeah, a scheduled discharge. In short, everything is in the style of the Russian Federation. Over there, everything is going according to plan and everything is under control. Of course, we believe it. There is also good news from the front. Our defenders managed to stop the advance of the occupiers in the Pokrovsk direction. The situation near Dobropilya has been stabilized and 6 settlements have been cleared of Russians. This was reported by Azov, and the deep state map also confirms it.
Over the past 3 days, in the defensive sector on the Pokrovsk direction, with the forces and resources of the 1st Corps of the National Guard of Ukraine Azov, together with adjacent and subordinate units, the enemy's advance has been stopped. As a result of search and strike operations, the following settlements have been cleared: Hruska, Rubezhne, Novovodyan, Petrovka, Vesela, and Zoloty Kolodets.
However, our military manages to hold the defense not only to stop the enemy's advance, but also to disrupt the occupiers' assaults. And of course, to capture Russians in order to replenish the exchange fund. Videos featuring Russian soldiers are being published by Azov and the 93rd Brigade Kolodny Yar. In addition, Pokrovsk has been completely cleared of sabotage groups. It's too early to speak of complete success, as the enemy continues to exert pressure and is bringing in additional resources. Therefore, at the Commander-in-Chief's headquarters, a decision was made to strengthen the defense in this direction.
We are increasing pressure on the occupiers and countering the enemy's attempts to advance. The necessary decisions have been made to reinforce these and other directions. In Donetsk region, in Zaporizhzhia, and so on.
Fighting continues along the entire front line, and there is news from the Sumy direction. Bakhmut Balu reports that a village was also cleared in this sector of the front.
A village was cleared in the Sumy direction. The groves around the occupiers where those present were killed, and those coming as reinforcements were also killed.
Serhiy Brachuk, spokesperson for Ukrainian Volunteer Army, speaks about successes of Ukrainian armed forces in this direction.
We managed to push the enemy beyond our country's borders, onto the territory of the Russian Federation. We are close to stabilizing the corresponding front line. The enemy failed to create the buffer sanitary zone there, which, by the way, Putin claimed was already a done deal. and in fact had already happened. But as we can see, that did not happen.
Meanwhile, in Russia, they continue to film staged videos of their fake victories. Small groups carrying Russian flags sneak into villages to showcase the capture of settlements. Short clips are distributed as reports to the Kremlin and to put pressure on Ukrainian society, according to the Intelligence Directorate. Recently, one of these videos surfaced from the village of Andrivka Klevtsova. However, fighters from the special unit of the Intelligence Directorate are debunking these so-called Russian successes.
What was the objective in the settlement?
Our team was not tasked to go out in 5 different places, stand with a Russian flag for a drone and take pictures.
Let's thank our defenders. They are the real heroes. And at the same time, I ask you to donate to the army. This is the least we can do to support our troops. And now to news from Alaska. Do you know what you could call the talks between Trump and Putin? A waste of time. As expected, they failed to reach any agreements. But despite this, I do have something to say about what the White House called a historic day. Let me start from the beginning. A red carpet for Putin. A damn red carpet for a terrorist recognized by the world. Oh, right, and Trump even applauded this terrorist. Although the White House tried to cover it up and even cut the applause from the video, the internet remembers everything. When Trump and Putin arrived, journalists were waiting for them. But they just took some photos and left, interestingly enough, in a 2-seater car. Judging by the look on Putin's face, he was very pleased with Trump's hospitality. Well, yeah, it's better than having to answer questions about killing Ukrainians and pretending not to hear them. By the way, yesterday wasn't the only time Putin pretended to be deaf.
And
now, let's actually get to the negotiations. The planned one-on-one meeting turned into a 3-on-3. On the Russian side, there were Putin, Lavrov, and Ushakov. On the American side, there were Trump, Rubio, and Witkov. They talked in this format for almost 3 hours. They didn't agree on anything, but as they say, it was productive and constructive.
We had a very deep and productive conversation.
Our negotiations took place in a constructive and mutually respectful atmosphere. They were quite thorough and useful.
The 13th minute of the press conference after the historic talks is evidence of progress. Exactly. And the fact that Putin almost immediately boarded his plane despite the planned banquet and the expanded negotiations also speak to the success. Well, for Putin, progress went public. He even gave Trump a lecture on pseudo-history. Putin brought along an entire folder of papers. They say he told Trump about the artificial creation of Ukraine. But in the end, at the briefing, he stated that there is a Russian trace in Alaska and that Ukrainians are a brotherly people to Russians.
A significant part of the shared history between Russia and the USA is connected to Alaska. Many positive events. To this day, a vast cultural heritage from the era of Russian America is preserved here. Orthodox churches and more than 700 geographical names of Russian origin. We have always considered and still consider the Ukrainian people. I have spoken about this many times. Brotherly, as strange as that may sound in today's circumstances, we share the same roots, and everything that is happening is a tragedy and deep pain for us. That is why our country is genuinely interested in putting an end to this.
He came up with that somewhere between the Pechenegs and the Rurikids, by the way, speaking of the Rurikids. Look at what Russian propaganda put out yesterday. Donald Rurikovich, no comment. During his fortunately brief speech, Putin did mention Ukraine.
The situation around Ukraine, the resolution of the Ukrainian conflict, events in Ukraine, solving the Ukrainian problem.
But despite the stated desire to end this crisis, there is no deal. In fact, even more. After 3 hours, they still didn't get any closer to a common ground.
We have very good chances of reaching an agreement. We haven't achieved it now, but we have very good prospects.
But they did agree on another meeting. Putin invites Trump to Moscow.
We will be in touch with you very, very soon. I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Oh, that's a very interesting and quite compelling proposal indeed.
I guess they'll be keeping an eye on me.
If you agree, Fredovich, don't forget to drop by Minsk. Lukashenko is also waiting to meet with you there, as he told you personally. Yes, Trump spoke with the Bulba-Führer. In short, as I said, the talks between Trump and Putin were about nothing. Expectations and reality are very different.
The format of the meeting. Instead of the anticipated face-to-face meeting, the talks were held in a 3-on-3 format with top officials present. Journalists were not allowed to ask the leaders any questions. Bilateral dinner. The planned lunch with the delegation was cancelled. Trump and Putin left Olyaska early. Press conference. Instead of a full briefing with questions from journalists, the leaders made individual statements that lasted only 12 minutes. Meeting with Zelensky. Putin did not publicly confirm plans for a trilateral meeting, although Trump later stated that it would indeed take place. Ceasefire. No ceasefire was announced. This contradicted Trump's earlier promises that he would not be satisfied without achieving this goal. Sanctions. Despite Trump's previous threats to impose sanctions on Russia, if there was no progress, no concrete decisions were made in this regard. According to Trump, until an agreement is reached, there is no agreement.
And today, the world's media came out with the following headlines. Trump warmly welcomed Putin, ending his diplomatic isolation. Putin's triumph in Alaska. Trump failed to achieve a ceasefire. 3 hours of negotiations and statements about progress, but no truce. Even the Republican channel Fox News believes it was all in vain.
It seemed as if Putin walked in and immediately got to the point he wanted to make. He got his photo next to the president and then left.
But in my opinion, former Trump advisor John Bolton summed up the meeting best. He said, Trump didn't lose, but Putin definitely won.
I believe that Trump didn't lose, but Putin clearly won. Trump achieved nothing except the meeting itself.
But that's not all. When Putin flew back to the swamp, Trump gave an interview. There were more words about progress, but what's more interesting is that the US president is talking about preparing a trilateral meeting. But now everything depends on Zelensky.
We were together for almost 3 hours and agreed on many points, though there aren't that many. There are 1 or 2 important issues, and I think they can be resolved. Now everything depends on President Zelensky, and European countries need to get involved a bit. But it depends on President Zelensky.
Spoiler? In Russia, they deny the upcoming trilateral meeting. Journalist from The Economist, Oliver Carroll, writes that there is a preliminary agreement on a ceasefire before the meeting between Trump, Zelensky and Putin. Sorry for the skepticism, but I can already sense what kind of ceasefire the Russian Federation will arrange in the coming days, if not today. Trump said that they are close to an agreement, and it definitely should be made because Russia is great.
I think we are close enough to an agreement. Now look, Ukraine has to agree to this. Approve the agreements. Russia is a great power. Ukrainians are not, although they have very good soldiers and good weapons that we have provided.
And of course that bunker demon, meaning Putin, cozied up to Trump and also claimed that the 2020 elections were rigged for this very reason. Donald lost.
Your elections were rigged because you have mail-in voting. No other country does this. It's impossible to have mail-in voting and still have fair elections.
Yes, mail is unreliable, but voting at gunpoint in occupied territories, that's the highest form of democracy. Now let's return for a moment to the negotiations. Reuters reports that Melania Trump passed a letter to Putin through her husband, the president. It was about the children that the Russian Federation had stolen. And considering that it's Melania who tells Trump about Russian attacks on Ukraine, it's not surprising. I just have a feeling that when Putin read it, he burst out laughing. And one more thing. After these productive negotiations, Trump spoke with Zelensky. Later, European leaders joined the conversation as well. They talked for more than an hour and a half, and there are already results. On Monday, Zelensky will meet with Trump in Washington. And what do you think about the negotiations between Trump and Putin? Share your thoughts in the comments.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
After the meeting between Trump and Putin, the international community also expressed its position. EU and UK leaders stated that they rule out any restrictions on arms supplies to Ukraine and are not considering abandoning Ukraine's integration into the European Union. They insist on strengthening sanctions against the Russian Federation if it refuses a trilateral meeting or evades ending the war. And French President Emmanuel Macron reminded everyone of Russia's tendency not to fulfill its obligations over the past 30 years. For example, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban stated that the meeting between the Russian and American leaders has made the world safer than it was yesterday. And indeed, we can already feel this in the intensity of air raid alerts. Russia never tires of recalling historical lands. Hungary has long been eyeing Ukraine's Zakarpattia region, and now Slovakia has decided to have its say as well. In Slovakia, newspapers are being distributed with provocative questions, such as whether Slovakia has rights to the land in Carpathian Ruthenia. Excuse me, are you serious over there? A radical politician. Robert Schwetz has already laid out an entire scenario. In short, if Ukraine cannot withstand the war, Zakarpattia should be divided between Slovaks and Hungarians. And that's not all. Shvets, of course, is not a representative of the state authorities, but the trend is rather concerning. Remember how that radical deputy from Moldova was already eyeing Odessa? It seems like they've all been bitten by the bunker grandpa from the Kremlin. Patriarch Kirill, also known as Gondyaev, once again offered his spiritual support to his Führer. He showed a photo where he is personally praying for Putin and for the success of his negotiations in Alaska. According to sources in the Russian Orthodox Church, there is an ultra-secret prayer intended to protect Putin's life and health. It also contains words about victory in the special military operation and even protection from sanctions. Gundyaev ordered that the text be kept strictly secret so that this prayer would not fall into the hands of enemies. At the same time, real cringe was happening in occupied Donetsk. There, in honor of North Korea's Independence Day, they organized a flash mob to the songs Vladimir Putin and Comrade Kim Jong-un. Anyway, watch and listen.
80 years ago, the significant and impactful history of Korea was written with the precious blood of brave Russian soldiers.
Comrade Kim Jong-un. Comrade Kim Jong-un. He truly leads Korea forward with great determination. And in step with him, the whole nation marches. The whole nation marches.
Meanwhile, in Tula, an outrageous scandal. A Russian woman who moved to this city just a couple of months ago complains that she drives a car with Belgorod license plates, and right in the middle of the road, a local man refused to let her pass. And he told her exactly what he thought.
I need to change to the left lane. And there was a man in some tiny car, like a Matiz or something, I don't know. Well, man is one way to put it. I signal that I need to go left, but he doesn't let me through. I honked at him a little, like, let me in, because I really needed to get over. He rolls down his window and I'm like, spontaneously, what? Now I'm about to explain to him that I need to turn left. And you know what he says to me? Quote, "What the hell are you doing here? It's already crowded without you. Should have stayed in your Belgorod, guarding the border." Are you people out of your damn minds? You know, I often see this half-joke among locals that people consider them the Belgorod People's Republic, like it's only their special military operation, right? I think I just fully understood what that joke is about. Anyway, I just needed to get this off my chest to share it. This is complete bullshit. That's it, all you newcomers. We're just sitting here in our Belgorod, the others.
Well, what can you say? It seems like Russia is gradually recognizing new people's republics right inside the country. Today it's Belgorod, and tomorrow, who knows, maybe there'll be a Tula People's Republic. Give this video a like to support what we're doing, and be sure to subscribe to our Ukraine channel so you don't miss our next episodes. See you soon.